Hey there tech fans, Rick here again from the OREI team. In today's video, I'll provide a complete overview of the new ToVi X1 solution from OREI that allows you to easily set up a flexible and expandable AV over IP solution for distributing all of your media content to multiple remote locations at the same time across a wide network. And the best part is the entire solution is software defined, which means you can instantly redirect the media content to any of your remote locations by simply accessing the graphical user interface on the network control hub and dragging that content to the location you'd like to have it displayed. The entire solution fully supports high-definition media content and is both HDMI 1.3 as well as HDCP 1.4 compliant, which means it's plug-and-play compatible with a wide range of modern media equipment. It also provides extension distances of up to 328 feet between the primary and secondary locations, so you can distribute your content over a very wide network. It also provides KVM functionality that allows you to connect the keyboard mouse up at one of the remote locations to remotely control a computer at the primary location, and it features local loopback functionality where you can enjoy the content at the primary location while you're simultaneously sharing it with your remote locations. And finally, the entire solution features power over Ethernet technology, which means once you plug these modules into a PoE capable switch, you won't need to worry about a power supply because the power required for the modules is sent over that same LAN connection. Now, as part of this overview, I'd like to start with a basic understanding of what's involved with the solution, and then I'll take a closer look at each of the modules and I'll explain the connections and indicators so you understand how to use them. I'll list the features and functions that this product provides, and then I'll come back one more time and point out some of the special features that the new ToVi X1 solution provides. So the basic understanding starts with what modules you'll need in the system. At a minimum, you'll need an encoder module and a decoder module. Now, the solution includes a standard encoder module and an advanced encoder module. The big difference between them is that this one provides audio extraction capabilities, this one provides audio extraction, local loopback, and KVM functionality. So you have encoder modules. You'll also need a minimum of one decoder module, either the standard or the advanced. You'll need the network control hub and a PoE switch. The PoE switch connects all the modules together and handles the network traffic to move that media content to the remote locations. And the network control hub is really the brains of the operation because the software that controls those relationships resides on the network control hub. And again, you can access the internal graphical user interface by simply opening a browser on any computer connected to the network and logging into that GUI. Now, if you stay tuned next, I'll take a closer look at all the modules, I'll list the features and functions, and then I'll come back one more time and point out some of the special features that this product provides because it's a software-defined product which gives you the ultimate control and flexibility over where your media content is sent and how it's displayed. The standard encoder module for the X1 system connects to whatever media device you'd like to share the content from with your remote locations, and it's responsible for converting the HDMI signal from that device into a network signal that's sent across your network to each of your remote locations. The module itself features ventilation slots on the top, both sides, as well as the bottom, that are really designed to let any heat that develops during operation escape, keeping the electronics inside at a very comfortable temperature. On either side of the module, you'll find holes that can be used with a bracketing kit to mount the module up off the ground and out of the way. On the front of the unit, starting on the left, is a power indicator. When you add power to the module, it immediately starts an internal power on self-test where it checks the electronics, and once it passes that test, it'll light that LED letting you know it's ready to use. To the right of that is a link indicator. When you connect this module to your PoE switch, that network connection is checked. Once it's been verified, the link indicator will come on, indicating a solid connection. To the right of that is a 3-digit display that indicates what channel the module is operating on, and you can change that by tapping these two buttons or through the software. And to the right of that is a reset button. You can use a small paper clip and gently push that button to reset the module if needed. On the rear of the unit, starting on the left, is a power port. There's a power supply included with the kit, and you can plug that into a wall outlet. The other end of the cable from that power supply has a barrel connection on it, which plugs in right there, and you can finger tighten the collar. But this module uses power over Ethernet technology, which means if you plug this into a PoE capable switch, you won't have to worry about that power supply because all the power required for the module is sent over that LAN connection. To the right of the power port is a full-sized HDMI port labeled input. This connects to whatever media device you'd like to share the content from with your network. To the right of that is a LAN port. you can connect this module to the PoE switch using that port. This product also provides audio extraction capabilities where it can digitally separate the audio component from the media you're displaying and allows you to pass that along to a soundbar or a home stereo for better quality audio. That connection right there allows you to pass that audio along to a soundbar, or you can actually inject audio into the media stream using that same port. Finally, to the right of that is an RS-232 connection. You can manage the module by connecting directly to a local computer using a cable on that port. The standard X1 decoder module looks very similar to the standard encoder module, but it performs a different function. This is located at the remote site where you'd like to enjoy the content connected to a local monitor, and it's responsible for converting the network signal back into an HDMI signal for displaying that monitor. Now the module's construction is very similar as well. You'll find ventilation slots on the top, both sides, and on the bottom that again allow any heat that develops during operation to escape. You'll also find mounting holes on both sides of the module, so you can mount this decoder module up off the ground and out of the way. On the front of the module, very similar to the encoder module, power indicator, link indicator, 3-digit display, buttons you can use to change the channel the module's operating on, and a reset button. On the rear of the module, another power port, another full-sized HDMI port labeled output. This connects to whatever display you'd like to use to enjoy the content at that remote location. To the right of that, another LAN port that's used for connecting the module to your PoE switch, audio input and output for extraction functionalities, and another RS-232 connection if you'd like to control this module directly. The ToVi X1 Series includes a second set of encoder and decoder modules that provide additional features such as KVM functionality and local loopback, and these still connect to the media device that you'd like to share the content from with your remote location, but they allow you to take advantage of all those additional features. Now the modules are slightly larger, and they feature ventilation slots on the top and both sides, as well as the bottom, just like the standard modules. They also have mounting holes on both sides that you can use to mount these modules up off the ground and out of the way. Now on the front of the module, on the left-hand side, it should look pretty familiar. You'll find a power indicator, a link indicator, the 3-digit display that lets you know what channel you're operating on, as well as 2 buttons you can use to change that channel, or you can change it through the software. But on the right-hand side, you'll find additional connections. Now this module provides KVM functionality, which allows you to connect the keyboard and mouse up at the receiver module at that remote location to remotely control a computer connected at this location, and you'll use this USB port to connect the computer to the module. You'll also find 2 full-sized USB-A ports that can be used for connecting additional external peripherals to that computer, like a microphone or a camera, and the minute you plug those in, they're immediately seen by that computer. You'll also find a reset button right there you can use to reset the module if needed. On the rear of the module, you'll find the power port on the left-hand side. Again, this module features power over Ethernet technology, so if you plug this into a PoE-capable switch, you won't have to worry about that power supply, and that's the LAN port you'll use to make that connection. To the right of that are 2 full-sized HDMI ports. This product provides local loopback functionality, which allows you to enjoy the content here while you're simultaneously sharing it with your remote location. And to take advantage of that feature, you can connect the monitor up to the output port to enjoy that content. The input port connects to whatever media device you'd like to share the content from with your remote location. And again, always use a high-quality cable to make those 2 connections. On this particular encoder module, the input and output for the audio extraction are separated. So if you'd like to use the audio extraction features on this product, you can use this port right here to connect to a local soundbar or home stereo, and use this port to inject audio into your media stream. There's an RS-232 connection block, just like on the standard encoder and decoder, and that's used for controlling the module from a local computer. And there are 2 more 3.5mm ports labeled infrared in and infrared out. This product also features infrared blaster control, which allows you to remotely control the content from the receiver module at the remote location here at the primary site. And to use that feature, you'll plug the infrared blaster into the infrared out port and put it near your media device so that those remote control signals can be rebroadcast and control the content. The advanced decoder module for the X1 system is very similar in size and design to the encoder module. It's got ventilation slots on the top, both sides, and on the bottom, as well as mounting holes on both sides that can be used with a bracketing kit to mount it up off the ground and out of the way. Now on the front of the module, again, a lot of it is similar. You've You've got a power indicator, a link indicator, the 3-digit display that lets you know what channel this module is operating on, as well as buttons you can use to change that channel. You can also change that through software. But on the right-hand side, you'll find 2 USB-A ports that are labeled USB device. These can be used for connecting a keyboard and mouse up at the remote location to remotely control the computer that's connected on the encoder side. To the right of that is a reset button. Again, you can use to reset the module if needed. On the rear of the module, on the left-hand side, you'll find another power port. This module uses PoE technology, so if you connect this to a PoE switch, that will provide all the power you need for operation, and you won't have to worry about that power supply. You'll find a single HDMI port labeled output. This connects to the monitor at that remote location that you'd like to use to enjoy the content. To the right of that, you'll find a single audio output port, and that's used with the audio extraction capabilities. You can pass that audio along to a soundbar or home stereo at that remote location for that full theater experience. To the right of that is an RS-232 connection block, again for controlling this module with a local computer, and 2 more 3.5mm ports right here labeled infrared in and infrared out. In this case, you'll plug the infrared blaster module into the infrared in port, and that'll collect up those remote control signals from that location and send those back to the primary location over that LAN connection so you can remotely control the content you're watching. The final component in the ToVi X1 solution is the Video Network Hub, which is really the brains of the operation because it's where the software resides that controls the relationships between the encoder and decoder modules and takes responsibility for distributing your media content across the network. Now the cabinet is really simple. It's got ventilation slots on both sides just like the other modules, as well as mounting holes that you can use with a bracketing kit to mount it up off the ground and out of the way. On the front of the module, you'll find a reset button, a power indicator, and a status indicator, just like on the other modules. On the rear of the unit, you'll find a DC input port, but again, this module uses power over Ethernet technology, so if you plug this into a PoE switch, you won't have to worry about that power supply. But you'll find 2 LAN ports on the back, and that's really interesting. This one is labeled Video LAN, and this one's labeled Control LAN. And the reason there are 2 network connections is because in some commercial environments, you may want to separate your video traffic from your control traffic. And if you choose to do that, this can be on a different network with a different IP address. But normally you'll plug this directly into the same PoE switch that all of your modules are plugged into and access it through there. Over here you'll find a switch that's labeled Normal and MCU, and this is used in normal mode for you to access this through the RS-232 connection if you have a local computer connected, or if you need to update the firmware on this module, you can switch that over to MCU and move the firmware file over to the module to complete that upgrade, but normally you'll leave it in the normal position. To the right of that is an RS-232 connection block. Again, you can connect to a local computer and issue commands to control the module and control the network. To the right of that is a Molex connector that's explained in the manual, but here's where you can make external connections for I/O that are controlled by the software, as well as voltage output, and you can choose which voltage it is, either 5 or 12 volts, by flipping this switch, and that can be used to control external relays and other equipment. And finally, to the right of that is an IR extension port. It's a 3.5mm port that can be used with the infrared blaster module. Plug it in there, locate it outside the cabinet so you can remotely control this unit. The ToVi X1 system is compatible with most modern media sources, including digital signage, streaming devices, digital projectors, satellite receivers, and media players like Apple TV. The product's features include full support of HD media content. It provides software-defined operation and is both HDMI 1.3 as well as HDCP 1.4 compliant. It offers 328 feet of unicast or multicast extension and includes audio extraction and full PoE support. I hope this overview of the ToVi X1 solution from OREI was helpful. This product provides an incredibly flexible way for you to distribute all of your media content to multiple remote locations at the same time over a single network connection. And because the solution is totally software defined, you can easily set up different relationships between the encoders and decoders on the network at the same time to mimic most dedicated products on the market. For example, you can set up an HDMI extension relationship between a single encoder and decoder that will send content from one location to a second remote location up to 328 feet away over that single network connection. And you can add additional decoders to distribute that media content to multiple remote locations at the same time, essentially turning this into an HDMI splitter. You can also add additional encoders with different media streams attached and distribute that media content to various remote locations, turning this into an HDMI matrix. You can even create a video wall by adding additional decoders at a single location, sending a media stream to that location where it's broken into multiple parts for display on individual monitors that have been gathered together to create this gigantic video display. All of that can happen at the same time, and it's controlled through the software, through the GUI on this network control hub. The product fully supports high-definition media content and is both HDMI 1.3 as well as HDCP 1.4 compliant, which means it's plug-and-play compatible with a wide range of modern media gear. The advanced encoder and decoder feature local loopback functionality, which allows you to continue to enjoy the content at the primary location while you're sharing it with a remote location. They also feature KVM functionality, which allows you to connect the keyboard and mouse up at that remote location to remotely control the computer at the primary location. And all of the modules feature audio extraction capabilities where they can digitally separate the audio from the media you're displaying and allow you to pass that audio along to a soundbar or home stereo for that full theater experience. And finally, the entire solution utilizes the latest in Power over Ethernet technology, which means when you plug these modules into a PoE-capable switch, that will provide all the power required to operate the entire solution, greatly simplifying your wiring. Everything you need to get started is included with the kit, and with a few simple connections, you can be up and running in no time. So until next time, thanks again for watching.